may now take your seats. Again, good morning to everyone. Welcome to the first Advanced Manufacturing HEI-Industry Forum, Igniting Vis-Min Manufacturing Potential through Workforce Development. I am Bern Bautista under the Makati Business Club, and I will be your host for today. This event is conducted under the Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Development or AMDev program, a 5-year USAID and Unilab Foundation-led initiative that aims to create a pipeline of highly skilled and adaptive workforce that meets the requirements of the advanced manufacturing sector. This forum is an opportunity to bring together representatives from higher education institutions, training providers, manufacturing companies, and the government to encourage collaborations that will contribute to developing a highly adaptive workforce for the advanced manufacturing sector in the Visayas and Mindanao regions. Once again, thank you all for joining us in this momentous event for AMDev. We also have participants tuned in via Zoom. We will flash them on the screen. They can smile at the camera and wave to everyone. Okay, they are there, but we have online participants via Zoom and Facebook Live. Okay, they are shy, but ayan po sila. Hello to our online participants. Before we start the program, allow me to acknowledge the presence of our partners at USAID Philippines and US Embassy. Director for the Office of Education, Michelle Chen. Agreement Officer Representative, Henry Grajeda. Anne Brooks, the Commercial Officer under the Foreign Commercial Services at the US Embassy. From Unilab Foundation, Director of Operations, Ms. Claire Papa. From the Cebu Institute of Technology University, President Engineer Bernard Villamor. And Ms. Lormi Felescuzo. From the government, we have CHED Supervising Education Program Specialist, Mr. Johnny Yao Jr. Okay. From the Cebu Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Lito Maderazo and Nelson Bascones. We also have Mr. Joseph Liwag from Knowles Electronics. Mr. Mandy Gareza from Gemfil Technologies, Inc. We also have companies from the Semiconductor and Electronics Industries of the Philippines, Doc Il Korea, Inc., Knowles Electronics Corporation, Lear Automotive Services Corporation, Mixed Gases Corp., Grupo EMS, Kenco, Aboitiz Power, Surface Technology International Philippines, and Testec International. From our friends from the other private sector representatives of the Makati Business Club and Investment Capital Corporation of the Philippines, again, thank you for joining us today at Lapu-Lapu City. Please allow me to go through our agenda this morning. First, AMDev's Chief of Party, Dr. Danilo Lachica, will formally begin our event with the welcoming remarks, to be followed by a quick introduction of the AMDev program by Ms. Catherine Racho, AMDev's Deputy Chief of Party. The next part of the program will include AMDev's alliance partners, all of which are movers in the industry. To showcase one of our significant outputs, Dr. Al Serafica of the Center for Integrated STEM Education or SYSTEM will present the AMDev Curriculum Architecture for Advanced Manufacturing. This will be followed by presentations from AMDev's model companies. Engineer Limuel Razo of Unilab International will present on industry-led education programs in the pharmaceutical industry, and Mr. Alan Timonera of FASTEC will then present on the benefits of an effective workforce development program to the private sector. After the presentations, we will synthesize them and dive deeper into the topics and have a first panel discussion with the three presentations. We will then have time for a quick break and then proceed to the second panel discussion on the opportunities of HEI-Industry collaborations on workforce development with CITU President Engineer Bernard Villamor and Engineer Mandy Gareza, the Chairman of SAPI for Visayas and Mindanao. To commemorate this gathering, we will also have a ceremonial signing with the Cebu Institute of Technology University, our first HEI partner in the Visayas region, to be followed by messages of support from CITU and Unilab Foundation. Our program will then be closed by Michelle Chen, the Director for Office of Education at USAID, and then we will have a chance to network with all of the guests during the lunch. Okay. This gathering is intended to be a platform for new ideas and opportunities for collaboration. We encourage everyone to please share your insights, experiences, so we can enrich the discussion. For the online attendees, I also encourage you to type in your questions on the Zoom chat box or on the Facebook comment section. While I still have your attention, we'd like to take this opportunity to take a quick group photo. Our photographer, Adrian, will lead us for the group picture. Just stay in your seats and we will take your photos. Please smile at the camera. Thank you for your big smiles, and thank you, Adrian. To officially begin the program, I would like to invite Dr. Danilo Lachica, AMDev Chief of Party, to deliver his welcome remarks.
Thank you, Bern. So our distinguished guests, friends from the U.S. government, the Philippine government, HEI, Higher Education Institute, industry leaders, and of course, SAFE, Vis-Min. We want to welcome you to this event today. Warm welcome, and hopefully this will prove to be a very productive and enriching event. So, education stands as a catalyst for progress, serving as the cornerstone of the ambitious United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Higher education institutions, comprising universities and colleges worldwide, occupy a pivotal position in this endeavor. They are the crucible in which future professionals are forged, where groundbreaking research is conducted, and where communities and stakeholders unite to confront the complexities of our time. However, our education system, designed for an industrial era of rote learning and standardized results, struggles to keep pace with our rapidly evolving world. A World Economic Forum report reveals that 34% of students believe their schools are not preparing them for success in the job market. In fact, if you talk to our industry representatives, this fact is born. Nothing against the HEIs, but it's just the reality of the world we face today. And in fact, that's one of the things that we need to work on, plugging the gaps. That's why we're working on an industry-led initiative for workforce skills development. In the Philippines, the job and labor market forecast highlights key sectors driving future employment, including information technology, business process management, construction, logistics, agriculture, and healthcare. These industries will fuel our economic growth. Crucially, the skills needed to thrive in these sectors have undergone a dramatic shift. Gone are the days when basic technical support sufficed in the technology industries. Today, success demands innovation, problem solving, and a deep understanding of emerging technologies. We live in an age of unprecedented technological advancements, with industries evolving at an exponential rate. This rapid transformation requires a workforce equipped with a dynamic skill set, and our young people must possess the ability to adapt, learn, and continuously relearn to cope up with these advanced technologies. We need individuals who can harness technology to drive innovation and solve complex problems. Transformation and innovation are at the core of AMDev, the collaborative program facilitated by USAID and the Unilab Foundation embodies this spirit. We unite industry, government, and academe with our industry-led model aiming to develop sustainable policies that contribute to national development and support the implementation of the Trabajo para sa Bayan and even the Tatak Pinoy laws. In fact, when I was speaking about AMDev in the Tatak Pinoy Forum, I actually met a company and an HEI in that event inquiring about AMDev. And I think one bore fruit, or one is bearing fruit today. And the other one will bear fruit probably next month in the province of Cavite. Thank you. Just in case you're falling asleep, right? So our core objective is to empower the Filipino workforce, both existing and incoming, through targeted skills training and development programs. To date, we have successfully equipped over 4,637 individuals with Industry 4.0 skills, including 566 senior high school students. Remarkably, the program has exceeded its year 2 target by 280%. And this is all to the efforts of our alliance partners and with your support as well. Again, thank you for that. This success really would not have been possible without the individual support of our partner HEIs across the country. Our network is continuously growing. In fact, yesterday we launched our 4th AMI, or Advanced Manufacturing Institute at Teradyne, the first in Cebu, and actually the first from the electronics sector. Today, we are thrilled to welcome the Cebu Institute of Technology University to the Visayas region chapter of our growing alliance. The panel discussions today will delve into the clear challenge before us, bridging the gap between the skills our workforce possesses and the demands of the modern job market. The task now is to invest in education and training programs that foster adaptability, critical thinking, and problem-solving capabilities. Our institutions must work together with industry and government to develop curricula aligned with the needs of the future. Only then can we ensure that the Filipino workforce is prepared to compete in the global stage and contribute meaningfully to our nation's progress. Thank you very much for your kind attention. God bless us all.
Thank you, Sir Dan, for your welcome remarks. This morning's session will definitely be a great platform to kick off our efforts to strengthen the partnership between HEIs and the industry on workforce development in the Vis-Min region and expand the reach of the AMDev program. Next on our agenda, Deputy Chief of Party of AMDev, Catherine Racho, will introduce the Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Development Alliance Program, or AMDev, to us all. Ms. Cathy, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Bern. Distinguished guests from the U.S. Embassy and USAID, representatives from the regional and local government, industry leaders, heads and representatives of higher education institutions, our participants who are joining us here online, and of course, here present today. Of course, our valued colleagues in the Alliance, a beautiful morning to all of you. I'm happy to present to you the Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Development Alliance, a 5-year industry-led project under the Education Unit of the United States Agency for International Development, and implemented by Unilab Foundation, Inc., together with our core partners from the industry, namely our 4 model companies, Amherst Laboratories, Inc., Belmont Softgel Pharmaceutical Corporation, Fastech Advanced Assembly, and Western Digital Corporation. And our industry associations, ICCP, or Investment and Capital Corporation of the Philippines Group Foundation, Inc., and Makati Business Club. And of course, our resource partners in the field of education and human capital development. We have Massachusetts Institute of Technology Open Learning, or MITOL, Ateneo Center for Organization Research and Development, or Ateneo CORD, Bayan Academy, Center for Integrated STEM Education or SYSTEM, People Management Association of the Philippines or PMAP, Ateneo Center for Economic Research and Development or Ateneo CERD, and De La Salle University School of Lifelong Learning or DLSU SOLL. The workforce is under the threat of losing opportunities given the technological transformation, and to future-proof our people, the Alliance helps to upskill and reskill the manufacturing workforce and strengthen the country's education system for the new jobs of the fourth industrial revolution. In more concrete terms, this means in 5 years, AMDev aims to provide training for at least 11,000 individuals who are part of the existing and incoming workforce, either presently working as operators and technicians or applicants in advanced manufacturing, engineering and technology students, and TVET trainees or STEM students about to join the industry. Establish at least 2 advanced manufacturing institutes or AMI in the country, or these are training institutions that have not only training materials and industry practitioner instructors, but also provides the physical space and equipment for the trainees to use. And finally, the establishment of the Advanced Manufacturing Skills Council, or AMSC, which will continue AMDev's work for training, partnership building, and policy after the life of the program in 2027. As of June 30, 2024, or just at the third quarter of our second year of program implementation, we have successfully fired up our fourth industrial revolutionized, as coined by our AOR Henry, fired up or equipped over 4,637 individuals with Industry 4.0 skills, 566 of which are senior high school students, an accomplishment that's still scheduled by year 3. With this figure, the program has exceeded our year 2 target by a remarkable 281% and is close to half of its life of the program target of 11,000. The AMDev family continues to grow and expand. In year 1, we launched the first Advanced Manufacturing Institute in Amherst Laboratories, Inc., located in Laguna, and the second in Belmont Softgel Pharma Corporation in Florida Blanca, Pampanga. This year, we launched our third and fourth AMIs. On July 29, we launched the DOST Advanced Manufacturing Center, or AMCEN, as our Advanced Manufacturing Institute for Additive Manufacturing. AMCEN's strategic location in Taguig positions the city as a vibrant hub for technological advancement and economic growth. The contemporary manufacturing landscape necessitates a paradigm shift, a decisive transition from reactive to proactive strategies. Socioeconomic realignments, evolving consumer demands, and the relentless march of technological innovation necessitate transformation within the industry. The critical question is no longer if manufacturers will adapt, but how they can leverage these disruptions as springboards for sustainable growth. Just yesterday, August 12, we launched our fourth Advanced Manufacturing Institute, and as mentioned by Sir Dan, this is our first in the Visayas region, the Teradyne Advanced Manufacturing Institute. The launch was followed by a kick-off training on basic robotics applications using universal robots and mobile industry robots. Teradyne is a leading provider of advanced testing and automation solutions. Initially, they will deliver these 5 courses: project management, soldering, robotics, automated test equipment maintenance, and ATE device test programming. Teradyne's training can equip individuals with the necessary skills to operate, program, and maintain robotic systems, making them valuable assets in the manufacturing sector. By providing training to current employees, manufacturers can enhance their capabilities, improve efficiency, and foster a culture of innovation. This can help bridge skills gap in the manufacturing industry by providing the necessary expertise to meet the demands of automation. In collaboration with our alliance partners, we are igniting a revolution in the Philippines' advanced manufacturing sector. Through partnerships with industry leaders such as Amherst, Belmont, Fastech System, and MIT-OL, we have meticulously crafted and rolled out 20 functional and enabling courses that were anchored on the results of the Philippine Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Survey, competency frameworks for operators and technicians, and the Advanced Manufacturing Curriculum Architecture. These are designed to ensure that workers develop the necessary knowledge, skills, and abilities by mapping competencies to specific courses. The recent launch of the Introduction to Digital Threads and the Corrective and Preventive Action has added 35 trained individuals, and more are anticipated with upcoming course offerings up to September. Soon, we will be launching the AMDev Learning Management System that we developed with Litmos and our curriculum cluster. With this, we will surely expand our reach, share our certificate courses, and train more anywhere in the country and even the world. Furthermore, we have collaborated with TESDA, Bayan Academy, and the AMDev Curriculum Cluster on training regulations to ensure seamless alignment between workforce qualification and standards and industry standards. Our industry subject matter experts have actually so far completed 17 competency standards. Our industry-led model aims to develop sustainable policies that contribute to the national development and support the implementation of Trabaho para sa Bayan law, as mentioned by Sir Dan earlier. And in fact, we have discussed among the business sector the implementing rules and regulations for this, for the TPB plan in one of our quarterly meetings last June, where we had NEDA as our resource person. On the professional development front, we are proud to acknowledge the successful completion of the organizational development and change management for advanced manufacturing course by 31 manufacturing HR practitioners under the Strategic Human Resource Management Diploma Program for Advanced Manufacturing. This is being facilitated by Ateneo Cord, and these individuals, these 31 participants, continued with the Talent Management certificate course, which culminated on July 16. The third strategic HR course on Employee Relations and Well-being Management starts today, August 13. Our partnership with the People Management Association of the Philippines further reinforces our commitment to fostering advanced manufacturing HR, and organizational development communities of practice. Additionally, AMDev and De La Salle University School of Lifelong Learning launched a comprehensive Advanced Manufacturing Technologies Executive Diploma course. This was on July 31st, and this caters to C-suites and technical and operations managers with 6 distinct courses, namely Big Data, Cybersecurity, Cloud Computing, Augmented Reality, Advanced Robotics, and Artificial Intelligence. We are actively building the foundation for continued leadership and influence within the industry. Platforms like the Advanced Manufacturing Quarterly Forums and this Advanced Manufacturing Industry and HEI Forum today, organized through the AMSC Secretariat, lodged under the Makati Business Club, the establishment of the AMSC's operational framework, and our engagement with Ateneo served as AMDev's official policy arm exemplify our commitment to this objective. While we celebrate our achievements, we acknowledge the vast potential for future growth. Year 3 presents us with exceptional opportunities to solidify the bonds between the government, industry, and higher education institutions. Through collaborative efforts, we can develop micro-credentials, specialized industry-recognized qualifications, that will further empower our workforce. Furthermore, the establishment of additional AMIs across the nation will create a robust network of learning centers, fostering a skilled and adaptable workforce. And so, we invite you to be part of this mission and work with us towards the fulfillment of these objectives. What can AMDev offer? For the business community, be part of this industry-led program that represents the cutting edge of USAID's private sector engagement strategy that provides a vehicle for improving the higher education and textbook education system and the manufacturing industry landscape by addressing the needs of both sectors in developing and nurturing a future-ready workforce. Industry partners can conveniently access the AMDev courses, training and knowledge products, and have the opportunity to align their existing training programs because AMDevs are based on the express needs of the companies and developed by none other than our model companies who have successfully transitioned to advanced manufacturing, the prestigious MIT Open Learning, working closely with experts from MIT Engineering and Advanced Manufacturing Unit, and renowned enabling course developers working with systems. For education institutions, on the other hand, we will work together to refine and update your curriculum and courses to match the evolving demands of Industry 4.0, facilitate internships in training programs which companies in the AMDev network and equip with companies in the AMDev network and equip your faculty with knowledge and practical skills through industry immersive training programs, offering hands-on experience with actual advanced manufacturing machinery. The AMDev team will be happy to discuss and explore possible areas of collaboration with you. As we conclude our second year, we anticipate a year ahead filled with continued momentum. In year 3, we are at AMDev alongside USAID and Unilab Foundation, and the entire alliance are firmly committed to redoubling our efforts. Through the collaborative development and implementation of strategic initiatives, we will navigate the dynamic landscape of manufacturing sector. Through this unified effort, we will cultivate a highly skilled and adaptable workforce, propelling the Philippines' advanced manufacturing sector towards a future of unprecedented growth and competitiveness. The future of manufacturing is upon us, characterized by the IR 4.0 advanced technologies. So to ensure the Philippines remains at the forefront of this transformative era, AMDev, in unwavering collaboration with our alliance partners, will steadfastly support the transformation of our industries. We will equip them with the essential tools and knowledge required to flourish in this dynamic environment. This unwavering commitment to collective innovation and progress underscores the core mission of AMDev. To borrow the words of A.O.R. Henry, AMDev is about the future, and we are preparing the workforce for the future. And thus our hashtag AMDeFuture. Will you join us make a better future for the workforce and ultimately for our country? We can all do this together. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Cathy. It's great to see what the Alliance has accomplished, and I can't believe it's already been 2 years since we started the program. The next part is a series of presentations from AMDev's alliance partners. These presentations will highlight the stories behind the numbers Ms. Cathy presented earlier. We have 3 remarkable men here with us to share their commitment, not just to the AMDev program, but commitment to nation building. Without further ado, let me introduce our first presenter. Dr. Al Serafica is the Executive Director of the Center for Integrated STEM Education, or SYSTEM, who spearheaded the development of the AMDev's Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Survey, curriculum architecture, and other knowledge products together with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology Open Learning. Doc Al?
Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Thanks for being able to join us today. Definitely from our co-creators from USAID and our AMDev team, I'm so happy that industry and academia are here to join us as well as our government. But I thank Kathy for being able to already introduce a good chunk of my talk today. I think I'll dig in deeper. Think of our group, the curriculum development team, as the product development arm of AMDev. Kami yung gumagawa ng sausage na kakainin ng industriya pagkatapos, in that sense. So, next slide, please. Today, I'll just briefly digress. I was given 10 minutes, so I'll describe key activities in the last 2 years that we had to do prior to where we are today. The first part is, of course, as early as October 2012, we began a very extensive survey. We rolled it out in about 500 companies, only to figure out that a 28-page survey is a bit too much. We had to reduce it down. The survey was co-developed by System, Vis-Min, as well as Open Learning MIT with George Westerman, and our team with Dom and Luan. I think they're over here. And once we were able to complete that survey, we then moved towards discussions with DTI in terms of the Philippine Skills Framework and TESDA for their Philippine Qualification Framework, so that we are already aligned with government in terms of the development of our framework, prior to then going into the curriculum development, resulting to a curriculum architecture that we could develop with MIT Open Learning. So I'll first discuss the survey and then move down to the last part of the architecture. Next slide, please. So the survey, again, was conducted nationwide, and we were able to get over 220 respondents to it. Majority, of course, of the advanced manufacturing is in Calabarzon, about 60% of them. And but the regions were well represented, and we would like to be able to have at least one AMI, possibly, in each of the region where there's actual manufacturing that's happening. Next slide, please. But what we found out was that this is the representation of the various industries in the survey. Predominantly, of course, it's in semiconductor, computer, and plastics industries. But well represented in metals, plastics, as well as food manufacturing. But clearly, a great deal of those practitioners are in the computer electronics and plastic products. But eventually, we would hope that we can develop for something for everyone by the end of our 5-year program. Next slide, please. But what we found out, I would just want you to, I know it's a very busy slide, I just want you to focus on the yellow-orange. The yellow-orange is just a summary of what we found out. That there's lack of proficiency in advanced manufacturing. There's a need for both enabling and functional competencies. And roughly, if you ask me, 10 to 15% of our companies are engaged in advanced manufacturing. And a lot of them are actually in cybersecurity. Unfortunately, not in augmented reality. None of the 9 pillars of Industry 4.0 are being taken in. IoT, Internet of Things, big data analytics, all of those are still in their infancy in our manufacturing sector. So clearly there's a need. So when we did those, both asking the companies in terms of their Industry 4.0 adoption as well as their competency requirements, this is what we found. So there's a need. So we established the needs assessment. Now we move on to, okay, how do we go about developing what they need? Next slide, please. So this is where we started. There was around this time, I think the DTI has already been very active in the CIRI and the skills framework from Singapore that was developed for 6 different industries, I think at this point, or maybe 2 or 3, logistics and the creative sector. So we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We started with what's already in existence in a framework and then develop one specific for manufacturing. Next slide, please. So, but we need to do our own background check. So I think Dom is here. We started in looking at all the available frameworks out there so that we don't reinvent the wheel. We looked at Singapore, we looked at our own skills framework, the U.S. Advanced Manufacturing Framework provided by MIT, as well as the other competency standards that are being implemented, as well as our local TESDA. And even European skills were evaluated in the process. Next slide, please. So based on that background, we used as a template the existing frameworks that already have been developed by DTI. And we were actually been asked by Yusek Pita Aldaba when we met her and hosted her in Mamplasan at the Unilab AMI that she wanted us to actually eventually provide us these are the resulting, because again, the framework is for all of the positions for a particular industry. We need to start somewhere. And we were tasked to do about 11,000. So where are the biggest part of the pyramid? The bottom is the operators and the technicians. So that's where we started to look at what are the competencies needed for such positions. And so we have identified both the functional and the enabling competencies. Again, they're very much part of the Philippine Skills Framework for the other industries like logistics. But with that list now, we are ready to at least to provide what we call a curriculum architecture. Next slide, please. That will, think of it as a grocery shop of all the learnings that you need to equip or to cook a product for an advanced manufacturing company. So this is where we're really going to go in to be able to get all your tools, your ingredients, to be able to help one company, like Lear. Next slide, please. So when we mapped up the competencies, we then realized that depending on the position, we would have to have various levels of the courses for AMDev. That can be an introductory awareness as early as junior, senior high, as an elective, going into foundational, which is really what workers need in order to get employed, and more advanced in the undergraduate, probably leading to a supervisor foreman level, and a very specialized to be a sort of a train-the-trainer capability. But so we have this complete list of functional competencies now as part of the architecture. Next slide, please. And together with that, we have recommended job levels for each position. We've started actually going through the competency standards with TESDA for the semiconductor electronics testing for a line operator and a maintenance operator as part of our work in the development for TESDA certification. Next slide, please. So these are all available for anyone who cares to join us and interested to know what we're all about. We have most of the enabling competencies, specifically problem solving, critical thinking, decision making. Those are all going to be available at our LMS shortly, if not already available. And of course, the digital transformation and digital threads that is developed by MIT. I think George presented this already, as well as corrective and preventive action coursework for our functional competency. So next slide. So last slide. I think I did stay within my 10 minutes. Clearly, what I'm here for, really, I'm interested personally as part of the curriculum development team. I partly accomplished it already, having been with CIT visit yesterday. It's really to also interact with the industry here represented today. Knowles, I know, is here. I saw URC, EMS. But we need to know, what do you guys need in Cebu? What industries are you in? Anong kailangan nyo? May listahan kami. Ano bang pwedeng gamitin? No? And then, of course, begin the discussion. And then, hopefully, we can loop in together in that team or in that table later on our academic partners, represented by CIT today, our president. And of course, my goal is hopefully by late this year, if not early next year, we're already piloting courses in Cebu for your workers. Thank you very much. I think that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc Al, for your presentation. This paints a clear picture of the important role of the private sector to support academic initiatives for enriching knowledge and skills on manufacturing. Moving on, our next presenter is Engineer Limuel Razo. He is currently the Corporate Vice President of Unilab Inc., handling the regional operations in the ASEAN region. He carries more than 50 years of experience in various manufacturing industries, covering a multitude of fields from production management to project management. Apart from being a technical expert, he is also a well-known coach, mentor, and advocate of learning. Engineer Butch?
Maayong buntag. Always good to be in Cebu. I finished my chemical engineering here many, many years ago. Okay. So good morning to all our friends, partners, and participants in this forum. My talk is about advanced manufacturing, focused more specifically on industry-led education programs in the pharmaceutical industry. Okay? We all know that a well-rounded We all know that a well-rounded human capital development program attracts foreign investors. That is a major decision criteria for a company to decide to locate a factory in a given country. In recent weeks, you would have read of several companies leaving China and relocating their operations to Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Perhaps a small number went to the Philippines. Given this prospect, I always remind my leaders that we all need to be part of the solution. In time, more of our countrymen will find gainful employment here if we can corner a bigger share of the investment pie. Pharmaceuticals is a risky business. This is actually a title of a book written by a retired officer of the US FDA. Indeed, pharmaceutical manufacturing is very challenging. The quality standards and expectations are very high because drugs must be safe, effective, and pure. We are governed by good manufacturing practice, what we call GMP. It's a very thick book with a lot of annexes, but when you sum it up, you basically split that into two. You can put that on a tiny piece of paper. One half is all about hardware, and that will cover buildings and facilities, production equipment, utility systems, laboratory instruments. And the other half is about software. Software is all about people and what people do. Okay? So that would encompass things like the organization, the culture, the quality management system, training and development, standard operating procedures, etc. But hardware and software must come together for us to deliver a quality product. Now, several challenges. Several challenges face pharmaceutical manufacturing. It's a very long list. Something's wrong with the slide. It's a very long list, but let me just focus on two key elements. Okay? One element is about regulatory compliance in connection with the various professionals that we need. Okay? Simply, there are not enough chemists, engineers, pharmacists, and microbiologists. We know that the entrants from high school going into these courses are very few, given the obvious difficulty of the subject. Okay? And the board exam passing rates are also very low, 30%, 35%. So, if we are to attract more investments, we must have more students enrolling in these courses, because all these professional degrees are required by law. You cannot run a QC laboratory without a licensed chemist. And soon enough, there's going to be a microbiology law, and all those graduates actually pursue medicine. Very few would actually enter the industry. Okay. The second element requires significant capital expenditures and highly skilled operators and technicians. In Unilab, for example, we are pursuing MES, or Manufacturing Execution Systems, where our shop floor becomes paperless. Okay? So everything is computerized. All machines have the PLCs and the HMIs, and we get real-time data. Okay? That will help ensure that we maintain data integrity, and therefore what you get is a quality pharmaceutical product. It was in this context that I formed the Unilab Pharma Academy back in 2014. The objective was simple: make the best pharma production operator, make the best engineering technician, the best laboratory analyst. Then we started expanding the scope to include other publics. We increased our collaboration and engagement with academia, government, and several industry partners. Right now, we partner with 20 schools We are accredited by TESDA for on-the-job training of vocational students. We are also accredited by PRC, the Professional Regulation Commission, when we conduct continuing education programs. Basically, the academy is run by 3 highly energetic, highly charged individuals with the kind of programs that we're doing. But mind you, we have 50 subject matter experts across our organization covering a variety of specialized fields. The Academy trains all our manufacturing employees, involving 1,000 personnel in 10 facilities here in the Philippines. Each job function follows a specific training plan. With my recent assignment to cover Unilab international operations, we are rolling out all these training modules to our 5 facilities overseas. So I have factories in Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam as well. Something wrong with the clicker? Can pull forward? Can you do it manually? Okay. It always reminds me, if it doesn't work, you can always go manual. Okay. In any case, let me continue. Our training programs are clustered into 4 pillars: pharmaceutical manufacturing operations, pharma quality systems, which are highly technical, and this covers processes, technologies, product formulations. So you can imagine having to produce 800 different products with different process requirements that we need, where we need to train all our manufacturing personnel. And of course, we have training programs for operational excellence and leadership and business solutions. Given the scale, I will skip that. I'll move to the next. It's done already. Okay. Okay. So those are the training programs that we have. All right. Okay. So given the scale of training that we do, 2 of our manufacturing sites have been commissioned to serve as advanced manufacturing institutes, or AMI. The first one was commissioned in March last year. The second one was September. Okay. And these 2 facilities, one is in Laguna, the other in Pampanga. We do a lot of training covering these regions. Together with other stakeholders, our training programs have been refined to follow a laddered curriculum. This was presented in more detail earlier by Doc Al. Okay, so I will skip this. As mentioned earlier, we have around 50 SMEs that teach a broad range of subjects. We have basic and foundational programs, and we also have advanced specialized courses. Okay. For example, Unilab was the first to run the 4-month training program, which was an output of a study done by an academy. We have since produced our second round of 4 months. In fact, last year I came here in Cebu because there was an industry group that consulted us about developing a 4-month training program for the particular industry. You will note that we have exceeded our objectives for the first 2 years of AMDev. Against a target of 1,300 workers, we have trained over 3,000. This is for the Unilab Pharma Academy, so our numbers don't match. For an achievement of 235%. For incoming workforce, such as interns, we hit 178%. Thank you to USAID, to the Unilab Foundation, and to all industry partners. Thank you also to PASTEC, Western Digital, Makati Business Club, who have been supporting us in our programs. Earlier, I also mentioned about our STEM teaching faculty. We also train STEM teachers. So far, we've covered 360 from different regions. Our Pharma Academy is also accredited by PRC. We do these training programs for the professionals so that they're able to renew their respective licenses. So the PRC accreditation covers chemistry, chemical engineering, pharmacy, and mechanical engineering. So, daghan kayong salamat sa inyong pagpaminaw. I hope to have given you an idea of how we, in Unilab, we try to be part of the solution. Okay? Working with like-minded stakeholders to advance the development of our workforce. As we approach the third year of our engagement with USAID and Unilab Foundation and the other partners, we are very much excited about the opportunities. We do recognize the challenges ahead, and our Unilab Pharma Academy is regularly updating and refreshing our course offerings to maximize the learnings and therefore help transform the lives of our workers. Daghang kayong salamat and maayong buntag sa tanan. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Butch. Hearing Unilab's success stories in industry HEI collaborations and replicating it to a wider reach through AMDev proves that the program serves as a catalyst towards a bigger goal. To continue our morning session, let us hear from Mr. Alan Timonera, the President of Fastech Advanced Assembly. Sir Alan has over 30 years of industry experience and has worked on various electronic technologies from inception to its eventual business adoption for global trade and commerce. His work focused on power semiconductors and electronic systems, which are now present in electric vehicles and renewable energy applications. In 2012, he embarked on his first collaboration with the academe that later became the Center for Microelectronics Development at Faith Colleges in Batangas. Sir Alan is also an adjunct professor at the Asian Institute of Management, teaching operations management for Industry 4.0. Sir Alan?
Thank you for that very elaborate introduction, but we can get to the matter at hand. Good morning, magandang umaga, as you would say, ayong buntag, but let me add, maupay nga aga. I come from the island of Leyte, just across the bay, specifically in Tacloban. So today I would just like to share, specifically this morning, the view, how the work of AMDev looks like at the enterprise level, specifically the view from a semiconductor company. Briefly, I would just like to introduce the work that we do in Fastech. The electronics industry, which Dan is, and I are a part of, and a few of us here, is actually the biggest export industry in the Philippines. Last year, we delivered around 45 billion US dollars, which has been around for close to 50 years or more. And you could just imagine the kind of changes we had to go through and how we adapted. And today's discussion is central to that effort. So we do work related to renewable energies, new energy vehicles, avionics protection, and telecom infrastructure. So that's the kind of work that we do. And that kind of actually imparts the complexity of the systems. And this is where education and training becomes critical. Can we move forward to the next slide? So in the course of 40 years, we can say that we at Fastech say that learning is as much as important as doing the work. I would hazard to estimate that about 30 to 40% of our time is actually devoted to learning, as the pace of technology keeps on changing. And today, it's accelerating at a faster rate. This requires a mindset of learning. And that's not to a certain group, but across the entire organization. If anything, I would attribute is the willingness to unlearn and learn new things. And that is central to the work that we do in AMDev. Can we move on? So there are many ways to cultivating human resource and talent. In the case of Fastech, we have since started around 1995 to formally work with HEIs. At that time, scholarship was the primary vehicle to get to know, and as with everyone, some of these scholars eventually wound up working with FASTEC. However, as we progressed, and around 2005, 2012 period, we actually took on a more active role. We actually co-designed courses with the HEIs, in particular, those that were relevant to the work that we did. The focus was material science, and in the case of electronics engineering, we worked with the Ateneo de Manila University to infuse that with artificial intelligence. So this was in 2014. Again, the OJT might be a word that we often hear. In FASTEC's case, we actually work with the HAs and say, we would like to work with you not only on the OJT, but we want to take them in a term earlier, which means we would like them to work on their thesis. We kind of nudge their thesis in a certain direction, and when they come for the following term, we actually ask them to implement it. We fund those theses. So they are experimental, but they are relevant to the work that we do. So it actually has a positive unintended effect because that challenges the established engineers within our company. So I always say, let's see how experience pair with actual learning driven from the academy. And in the course, again, of our work with AMDev, FASTEC has actually provided for the senior high school, because one of our focus is the incoming workforce. We focus along 3 levels, both at the senior high school, the undergraduate level, and the postgraduate level. And in the case of FASTEC, just like what was mentioned already there, we have delivered our 560 graduates. We have adopted in our geographical location where our factory is located in Cabuyao, a senior high school, Mactan Senior High School. In the last session of February, about 190 of them actually were there. This experience is not only about conducting the courses. We really have to be involved in a community level work. We have to fetch them, bring them to the factory, and bring them back to the school. So again, I'm sharing this from a level of an enterprise at the grassroots. Can we move forward? Okay, recent with the work with AMDev, we have started things that we have not done in the previous 5 years. For example, we have this regional conference in Singapore running now for the last 3 years that FASTEC has been sending our engineers. The thing about this conference is this is focused on manufacturing technologies. Normally, people go to sell products in these trade conferences, but this is different. I always share with our employees that, probably you get tired of hearing me talk about it. So we send 5 of them, a group, every year, and see for yourself how things are working at the Industry 4.0 level. That's Singapore, and there's one upcoming in October. Bringing about changes to any company operation is not solely a technical undertaking. And one of the things that I am glad that we have covered in our work in AMDev was that change management was a part of that. And our partners at Ateneo is actually providing that skill build-up. Again, you would not have expected that in this talk we would only focus on the technical challenges. In fact, a key part of the success would depend on handling these kind of changes. And again, I think this was done last April. Unfortunately, I was on another trip, but our folks were there. Thank you, AMDev and USAID for sponsoring this trip to MIT. Okay, can we move on? All right. The next slide. And the last one is in the Philippines, having a degree is not only aspirational. This is rooted in our culture. Okay? And in manufacturing setting, admittedly, not everyone has a college degree. Okay? So, but fortunately, we have the ETF program, okay, that allows for a certain conversion of a certain number of years to earn a degree. And so we have partnered with a school all the way to Quezon Province in Berga. And we have, to my mind, about 12 already who have earned their degree. And again, in their thesis, we don't leave it to chance. We actually nudge them in the direction that is relevant to our business. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, this is quite a busy chart, but let me just try to walk you through it. Undertaking a transformation has certain components that needs to be in place. Okay? In our case, we needed a certain level of infrastructure. Different enterprises would have different minimum requirements. For a manufacturing, this means we needed to have an ERP system. Butch mentioned earlier a manufacturer execution system. That's actually a more advanced system. At the same time, we needed to have training resources. And that was my motivation for getting FastTech into AMDev, because we knew we wouldn't have all the bandwidth to develop these materials. Having those two components enabled us to start the process. So this process actually covered simultaneously the 3 levels of personnel in FastTech. In fact, we have about 3 vice presidents that we sent to the year-long diploma course that we have with Vilazal. The point that we're trying to make here is that these are not easy decisions. Letting go of your vice president to devote time away from work is not something that we take lightly. So this is an important decision point. But there are objectives that doesn't end in the quarter. In this case, I've listed there the kind of knowledge and skills that are needed to drive the changes that's needed to be competitive. We talk beyond productivity. We can be productive, but not competitive. At the end of the day, we need to be competitive. 40 years is a long time. And part of that is the spirit of competition, but you also have to have the basics. And the thing is, with time, those changes have escalated rapidly. And so, in the case of FastTech, we were able to do these changes. But let me just make it more real on the next slide, please. Can we run it? Oops. Did it run? Oh, it's PDF. I'm sorry. Oops. Okay. Let me just bypass that then. Can we move on to the last slide? Okay, the few key things I would like to leave this morning is that in any change, in any commitment to drive programs in the next, leadership must be committed. It cannot be a bottom-up process. I think the presence of Butch, myself here, illustrate that commitment to be here in Cebu. Training goes beyond enabling and functional. Rather, soft skills are important. Again, while we do require resources, financial in nature, but guiding people through change requires personal participation of the leaders. There's just no shortcut to that. Leaders have to exemplify that we are willing to go through those challenges. That's why a good deal of our executive personnel had to be part of the program. And again, this may sound like a sales pitch. In fact, it is. You don't have to be alone in this challenge. Okay? There are those of us who are willing to share our experience, and of course, there is AMDev. With that, I would like to end and say thank you.
Thank you, Sir Alan. Your presentation showed that Fastech's journey to manufacturing excellence stems from your dedication to develop good talent. For all the participants here, we will be sharing with you the video that was supposed to be shown during Sir Alan's presentation para hindi naman po sayang. Before we move on, I would like to acknowledge the presence of a few VIP guests, Mr. Lito Maderazo, Mr. Raymond Chua, and Mr. Nelson Bascones from the Cebu Chamber of Commerce. Good morning po. Okay. Continuing the knowledge sharing of AMDev, we will now have our first panel discussion to be moderated by AMSC Director Sasa Siriban. Sir Alan, I would like to call you again on the stage, Doc Al, and Engineer Butch. Thank you so much.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I hope you're still with us. I know we wish to be there, but for now, let's be present here. We had a really great presentations earlier, so I hope the presentations already piqued your interest about AMDev, and we understand that the 10-minute presentations are not enough, so this is our opportunity to dive deeper and learn more about the program. So I have a couple of questions here for you, gentlemen. Then later we'll open the floor for questions from our participants. So if you have a question, raise your hand and we'll bring a mic to you to ask your question. And then for those who are shy, we provided notepads there. So if you have a question, you can write it down and then we'll please give it to either Lacey or Aryan, who's there. Just raise your hand. And same for our Zoom and Facebook participants. If you have a question, just type in the chat box and our colleague Nina will feed them to us. Okay, great. Let's get started. Okay, so for our first question, it's for the three of you. So each of you has already presented your contributions to the program. Just to refresh us, because it's a really great presentation, baka we might forget some of it. So for the benefit of our participants here, can you briefly explain to us again your efforts, your organization's efforts for AMDev, and how does it align with the overarching goals of the program? We'll start with you with Doc Al, and then with Sir Butch, and then Sir Al.
Green. Okay, thank you, Sasa. Again, when I describe AMDev in 30 seconds to industry partners and academic partners, I always say this is an industry-led, industry-demanded, and industry-adapted training program for workforce development, for advanced manufacturing. And to me, that's the essence of our existence, raison d'être, as they said in French. But our contribution is to understand the whole landscape, to know what the whole collective advanced manufacturing industry, for starters, the various sectors, as well as the requirements from the government institutions like TESDA, eventually CHED as well, but more importantly, DTI, for the skills framework that we're aligned. But at the end of the day, we need to match that with the requirements of industry. Because industry have your job postings, the task list for that particular position, the skills behind to perform this task. And the two have to meet in the middle. So that's how I view the products. And each of the products may differ depending on the position, the sector, the industry. So there's a lot of iteration that needs to happen And in a way, it's a bespoke or a tailor fitting that needs to happen in order to make it work to the individual academe and industry partners to be able to make it productive in producing the type of workers that would deliver and produce the products for our own economic nation building and development. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
Okay. For Unilab and for the Unilab Pharma Academy, the work was relatively easy because to begin with, we had the training infrastructure. We had a Pharma Academy established since 2014, and we've been doing this now for a number of years. As an example, we put an emphasis on training the teachers to try to maximize the bang for the buck. We've covered 360 teachers so far, STEM teachers. Okay? The impact is estimated at around 35,000 students a year. Okay? We work with 20 universities, and we take in a lot of students from their institutions. And then we do a lot of faculty immersion so that they're able to relate the theory as against shop floor practice. Okay? So we have all these training modules available. There's a number of engagements involving a number of programs. And it's very good timing because now we got a lot of support from the Unilab Foundation and, of course, from USAID. So now we have greater scale. Now we're able to cover a bigger ground in terms of, how many other publics we can influence or cover or train. Okay? So in essence, basically, we're also doing our part. I keep reminding my team, we always need to be part of the solution. Okay? So training is key to the kind of work that we do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan.
Yes. Like I have mentioned, we have been in the industry for 40 years. Obviously, we had a lot of things done in-house, meaning most of the companies in the electronics and semiconductors have very well-developed training regime. But what was different when AMDev was conceptualized was that there was the possibility now where we could replicate what we did with the standards, in particular the most famous ISO 9001. By having that, you leverage and standardized, okay? There was reciprocal acceptance of what the other guys were bringing to the table. And I think the concept of AMDev, of having these different developed modules, be reciprocally accepted by the industry themselves, has a big impact because ISO auditors come in, right? They say, we'll do business with you if you pass this. Butch was saying earlier, a big decision to invest. But how do you say you have the qualified people if everybody just wants to say their own piece? So I think that's what AMDev is bringing to the country. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Very well said, sir. And of course, also Doc Al and Sir Butch. My next question is for Doc Al. You presented earlier the curriculum architecture of AMDev, and we know that skills requirement changes as new technology becomes available. So, how flexible is the curriculum architecture to accommodate changes in technology and industry demands over time, and how can this document help universities adapt quickly to the labor market?
Okay, thank you. Actually, if you have a chance to look at the curriculum architecture, it's quite extensive, very loaded, and we were very thankful to our model companies who contributed immensely to the composition of that architecture. And so we're not starting from scratch. But at the same time, we also use the standards and the information available both from the US, Europe, and Singapore, supplied by us together with the Philippine local skills framework to be able to match the contents of our architecture to make sure we catch all. In terms of flexibility, it is intended to be a catch-all where you can almost make your own product or tailor a product for a particular industry academic partner. So it is that flexible that you can address all the requirements starting from the technicians, operators, all the way down, all the way up to hopefully engineers and technical But again, it's a varying level from an awareness leading to a specialist. So that flexibility is inherent in the architecture. And definitely for you to be able to utilize that, you just have to go through using it and practicing how to pick and choose, develop. It's almost like a Lego, Lego land, and what you wanted to be able to deliver as a product to the customer. In this case, the customer's industry needing trained workers from one capability to the next level of capacity, specifically on the industry 4.0 skills and pillars. So I just needed to remind everyone, a lot of this is probably you heard earlier, but with the advent of AI, a lot of them are supercharged now. Internet of Things, augmented reality, supply chain management, cybersecurity, all of these are actually changing even faster because of the advent of ChatGPT and this large model. So clearly this adapt needs to be incorporated as well for our industries to be competitive, because at the end of the day, we are competing with the rest of the world, and we need to be able to equip ourselves with the best training program to be competitive.
Thank you, Doc. I have a follow-up question, though. What challenges do you think that HEIs will face in adopting this curriculum architecture, and what solution or solutions can you suggest for them?
That's a perfect question, Sasa, because we were just with President Byrne yesterday, and I already saw what they have, what they're capable of doing. But the challenge still definitely exists in being able to match the requirements of industry, the specific subject matter that they want to be trained on and taught. Looking for the trainers. The trainers has always been the big challenge for scale up or even delivery. And being able to find the right trainers and the subject matter experts to train those trainers so that the actual workers will get it. Because sometimes it's easy with Doc Al telling a particular worker, but once I have to download that to the trainers, especially locally in CIT, I want Larny and I want John's people and the Dean of Engineering to be able to get the essence of the teaching together with being exposed to the practice of the industry. So it's very important there's an exchange of knowledge. That's why, to me, it's both the hands-on as well as the concepts that need to be taken in by the trainers. And it can be industry trainers shadowing academia initially to transfer their knowledge, and then hopefully academia is able to absorb that and go to the floor of the factory as we do as part of our curriculum development in order to see what we're teaching, how it's being used on the floor. So I think that's a combination. So to me, a perfect teacher, trainer is an academic and a practitioner engineer that is merged together. So I'm hoping that that's the type of trainers that we have already, examples of Ryan and Marvi from Pharma Academy, and of course all the capacitated fast tech industry. And of course I'm looking at Ben at Western Digital and Genoa with their experience with World Economic Forum Lighthouse certification to all come to bear to be available for the rest of that manufacturing industry to avail of with that experience. So I'm hoping it's really a bayanihan effort for everyone to put everything what they have on the table and to make it available for everyone to use or be able to utilize.
And perfect, because Unilab Pharma already does teacher training and train the trainers. So great. So AMDev has the solution. So, okay, I'm going to Sir Butch. I see that Unilab Pharma has been training workers outside the pharma industry. I know your team has been training members of ICCT in Luzon and also here in Cebu. So how does your training programs apply to different kinds of manufacturing industries?
Well, we did start with training activities focused on pharma. But over the years, it has evolved given the specific needs of the other partners. But when we do our training, there are actually a number of technical subjects that are fairly common to a wide range of industries. For example, purified water systems. Okay. How do you design? How do you operate those things? Air conditioning systems, health and safety. Okay. So there are a number of programs that will cut across regardless of the industry. So we're able to roll that out. we've been working with a number of entities, for example, Dualtech, who also works with several other partner companies. So we're able to harness or do a kind of a survey of all those companies, and then we discuss exactly the kind of training that they need. Okay? So it doesn't limit us. Our Pharma Academy is not limited only to pharma training courses. There's a broad range of subjects. As I mentioned earlier, we have 50 subject matter experts, okay? 50 SMEs in a number of conceivable areas in terms of factory operations. So we're able to harness that. I think our Pharma Academy has been here twice before. Yeah, we've been doing training on a number of companies here in Cebu. Yeah, so they're quite extensive in terms of all the subjects that they can cover. We just bring in our SMEs to be able to cover a particular need. Yeah,
and then you mentioned that you have a 3-man team in your under Pharma Academy, and then you have subject matter experts. In those training the trainers with your team, what's the most successful endeavor in terms of teachers training?
Okay, well, I highlighted the impact on the teachers, but let me go back a few years. During the first manufacturing summit, one of the foreign speakers made a remark which caught my attention. He said, STEM education in the Philippines is weak. And then he followed that up with a remark, industry, academia, and government collaboration is also fundamentally weak. Okay. Coming from that conference, I go back to the academy. And then I told them, okay, this is the assessment, this is the situation. I think we need to play a bigger role. Because initially, we were focused on our particular industry. So now we have to go out. So that's when we launched our STEM teaching factory. We actually have a factory where we bring in teachers for training for 1 whole week, working with System, working with Unilab Foundation. Okay? And then there's another example where we do faculty immersion. I bring in engineering teachers from a particular school. I give them assignment. I engage them for 1 whole month. Okay? And then, they're given projects. I review their output. Okay? So there's a big discussion. Again, to connect the theory, when you do the teaching, with real life application in the workplace. Can you imagine pharmacy teachers? Pharmacy teachers who do not have the experience of how do you do this toxicity and safety testing of drugs, where you may have seen these tiny white mice, okay, in a laboratory. Who could do that? We have that in Unilab. And you have the teachers, they know the theory, but they don't know how to do it. We gave them the experience 1 whole week, charged to my budget. Okay? So a number of those examples, but again, just to drive home the point, improving the capacity of the teachers is critical because they cover a number of students for years and years and years. And these guys, help coordinate all those activities. A number of institutions, north to south of the Philippines. So we have 20 partner educational institutions.
Thank you, Sir Butch. Speaking of partnerships, let me go to Sir Alan. We know that collaboration with HEIs can significantly enhance workforce readiness, right? So can you share some of the examples of successful partnerships of FastTech with HEIs, and what specific outcomes or benefits does it have, or benefits have emerged from these collaborations?
Okay. This is actually just exactly following what Butch had just said. In the case of FastTech, I mentioned earlier about OJTs and thesis. Okay. I also mentioned reverse immersion. In the case of FastTech, we actually invite the faculty and we ask the school to kind of relieve them of half the unit's teaching load. Now, this is very important because this is where the rubber hits the road. Okay, we can all theorize this, but this is the reality. Letting go of the teaching load of 50 so that we can bring them into the factory for 1 term. Okay? We can do our part. We, in fact, did that. And when they went back, we specifically said, we don't want you in industry. But in order to make your knowledge current, we will make you part of our project team. And here's the delicate part. Now, they will gain knowledge. And as we all know, as teachers gain more knowledge, they become more attractive to the industry. Okay? We had to face that particular and answer that particular question. We said, we will pay them. Keep them in the school. It's a contract. So that they don't have to be deprived of their potential to earn more by going to industry. This has to be that way. At least for us, that's how it worked. Money will be involved. And in a way, that was a saving grace because schools have their own salary scale. They don't want to distort that. By having a private partner cover it, they're able to preserve and justify to the rest of their faculty. You have to find solution to make this acceptable to all stakeholders. There's really work that needs to be done. And at the end of the day, I had to ask myself to be invited to be a board member of the school so that things can just move a little bit more faster. No pay. Okay? I am a member of the board of a school so that I can put two things together faster. Sometimes you have to grab the bull by its horn. Okay? These are not, guaranteed formulas. But it allows us to move forward. And I suppose every collaboration will be unique. Everyone has to put the effort. So, to us, that's one success story. Being able to preserve the faculty to stay and teach while we're able to provide them with the opportunity to expand their earning potential and be able to continually absorb what industry can teach them.
That's a significant investment for the private sector and for FastTech. Another question, Sir Alan, on your partnerships and in training not just the faculty but also the students and the current workforce. So we hear that it's a challenge to retain talent. We talked about this yesterday over lunch, and you've trained them years to get them to a certain level, and at the end of the training they leave. So how do you ensure the return of investments in your trainees, and what are your strategies for retention?
We are in a very fast changing environment. The workforce, the mobility is very dynamic now. It used to be you would lose or they would transfer to a competitor, but today it's not the case. They go to other industries, okay, and some even think that TikTok can be a livelihood. So I'm not losing to a competitor, I'm losing to a social phenomena. So these are the realities on the ground. So our response is to increase the supply. I mean, competition will always be part of the landscape. So increasing the supply is one approach. However, you're right. It used to take 2 years for a newly graduated or newly minted engineer to be productive. But technology allows us to compress that now. Things like knowledge base. We were just talking with the folks in Teradyne. Okay? By incorporating the knowledge of the last 10 years, because the company may be 10 years, but the people working there are not. So, preserving what we call tribal knowledge in a form of a knowledge base enabled by new technology is now possible. That means the 2 years can be compressed to 6 months. That's the objective. Okay? If we can do that, then we can leverage now and deal with this highly mobile workforce. At least we get to retain them for 2 years. They're actually productive for 18 months.
Thank you, Sir Alan. I know this is not part of your briefer, but I just want to add this because yesterday it was also part of our conversation. how you ensure that there's your curriculum is integrated to universities past, and what are the challenges you've encountered, and what's your way around?
Okay. Like I've said, I had to make sure I understood the mindset of the academe, so I had to get myself into the board. No offense, like I said, we use this word. Academe by design move glacially because they have to be sure about their decision. In industry, we can always pull back. Okay, we have contingency plans. And how do you get these two differing ways of moving with work? So, in our case, we start off with what normally is known to both, scholarships. Okay, that's the entry point. Then we move towards collaborating with curriculums. Okay, it's easier or less complex to work with autonomous universities because they don't have to go out to chat. Okay, but there are other ways you can complement certain electives, and that's where we normally focus our effort by having those electives topically tweaked to address the specific needs of industry. That requires putting, again, effort, your engineers, your managers, working with the faculty. There's just no shortcut. You have to work with them. And in cases where the laboratory aspect arises, we say, you can use our facilities. That's why it's important for campus to work within their geographical local communities. We still have challenges. I mean, we'd like to give our equipment, but we cannot because we operate in tax-free zone. Moving that equipment out is not practical. And everyone who's worked in a PEZA zone knows that. But if they're just about 6 kilometers away, our laboratories become the school laboratories.
Thank you, Sir Alan. Time check. I think I'd like to, 15 minutes left. We can use that. Questions from our audience. Do we have any questions? Yes.
Sorry, just a quick question to Alan's point about laboratory and equipment. We understand that it's hard to move equipment outside of a PEZA zone. We've heard recently of this phenomenon of lending equipment for a certain period. Is that allowable under the PEZA rules? How feasible is that as a workaround to some of the policies of the economic zones?
There are avenues. For example, in industry, whenever we need to bring out equipment for a trade show, for example, we have what we call an authority from PEZA, and you have to actually post a bond. Okay, sometimes some of these hoops are just too much for schools. Like I've said, their organization are not structured to deal with this kind of activities. So if a company has the bandwidth, then we will do it for them. But not all companies may have the same disposition towards such activities. Again, it depends on the partnership and to what extent the company really is committed to that partnership. But it would help if there will be provisions in the law so that we are not left in the gray.
Along those lines, out of the 11 original partners, alliance partners, and we've added two to provide services. And for this to work, of course, there's that HEI and industry collaboration, but we really need to engage the government. And one such engagement is, well, in particular with Congress, and we've raised this issue to them. Why are companies being taxed on the original value of the equipment that they're going to donate or let the universities use? And so we've gotten some traction, and I think Congressman Mark Go has actually gave us the feedback that BIR has issued a the thing about it is, you may have the IRR, but the implementation is kind of rough. So we will follow through with that, and I think there's a solution. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not an oncoming train. So what I'm saying is, there's hope, and hopefully we'll realize that sooner than later. So there's a possible answer to that. But I just wanted to add one comment. You might be wondering why there's MBC in the pull-up banner. MBC is one of the original partners, alliance partners, but they really, like all of our partners, small companies, they will, I guess, fulfill an important role. And that is, our life is 5 years. AMDev's life is 5 years. We're on the second year. And after the third year, we're gone, right? But we don't want to lose. I mean, you've seen the hard work that these partners have done, and we don't want to lose that. And so the plan really is to sustain this effort. The Makati Business Club and Sasa will actually be the executive director of the Advanced Manufacturing Skills Council, which will take over what AMDev has done to sustain it forever and ever. So just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you, sir. Dan. Big shoes to fill after AMDev. Okay. Any more questions for that? No.
Hi, good morning. Joe Liwag from Knowles. First of all, thank you for all the inputs and sharing. I appreciate it. Now, I understand the value of developing the curriculums or training programs for competencies that are commonly used in the industry, like micro manufacturing for our side, soldering and gluing. But for very specific competencies, like case in point for us, electroacoustics. Not everybody's using that. Would AMDev still support in developing such a curriculum? We tried it before with USA Stride program. I worked with the University of San Jose, developing a PSM. Actually did an elective course about 12 years ago, no? But is that something that this program will also cater? Very specific requirements and needs of the industries. I actually have a few questions, but that's the first one.
I think just a quick response to it. Definitely, we will try our best within our not only subject matter experts and part of a bigger community of the National Academy of Science and the Philippine American Academy. If I can find the experts that can deliver, definitely, and I think you really need it. I think you already started the process, Joseph, by asking for it. So I think it always starts with that conversation, and I would definitely would like to see how far we can go as AMDev. But definitely our partnerships with MIT Open Learning, their experience in the Mass Make program in Massachusetts is going to be a crucial component. That's our actual sizzle to the steak. Hopefully we have experts abroad as well to be able to hopefully fulfill some of these requests coming from our industry locally. I hope that's a good start. Thank you.
Joseph, we're trying to put this all as much as we could under the umbrella of AMDev because there's just better way to move forward. In particular, we have talked to Batangas State University, and the president there, here's Ronquillo, is very positive. In fact, his vision is to have micro-credentials. Okay, so the kind of specialized knowledge that you have mentioned falls nicely into that category. You don't really want to send people for 2 years in master's degree. You don't have the time for that. However, developing micro-credentials might be a way to do it. In fact, in particular, in the case of FastTech, we want to do thermomechanical simulation using finite element analysis. I cannot send my people for 2 years to learn a very particular specialized skill. But we have partners who are willing to work on micro-credentials. I think PSU would be one example. Maybe that's something that the Vis-Min region can start to look into as well.
I'd love that. I've mentioned it in several occasions, so that I'd like Cebu to be a hub for audio technology. Talk about, sound to signal, signal to sound, working with HEIs, and it could help, attract investors or our vendors to come over here because that expertise is being developed. So that's something that the mid long term I'm really trying to push, and I know the HEIs will be with us here. Sorry.
I was just about to welcome Joseph to AMDev.
Oh, careful. Audio electronics. You can actually dissect that into several courses, if you will, right? What we can do, and maybe I'm glad that our friends at CIT are here, because while Bat State U is willing to go with micro-credentials, and we have another potential partner in Mapua who's willing to do micro-credentials for the electronics industry. But what we can do is leveraging with our HEI network in Cebu and safety members also, is to break down that audio electronics into specific courses, if you will, because the approach of AMDev really is to go beyond just electronics and pharma, but to touch other industries. But there might be, say for example, if you talk about the 6 electives, right? Among those 6, maybe 4 or 3 are general that can encompass other industries, and then we'll work on the specialized, on the courses that those specific needs that may not be as applicable to other industries. And then, as Alan said, we can work on that. But we can start with dissecting it and coming up with the more general skills of audio electronics. So that might be that approach we can take.
Thank you, Sir Dan. Okay. I think we have one last question. We can accommodate one more. Okay. Going once? Yes. Voluntold.
No, maybe the others.
All right. Are there any online questions? Okay, there's none. Okay, going once, going twice. So, but we smell another partnership here with Knowles. Right? Okay, just put that on the record. All right. Okay. Give the contract. Okay. So for my closing question for the three of you, just to wrap this up, I'd like to ask like one question for you in less than 1 minute. Looking ahead, what are the next steps for your respective organization in continuing to support the goals of AMDev? And how can stakeholders here best contribute to this mission?
Okay, I think I'll just start with that. Clearly, we're very interested in working models, preferably with an economic benefit already incorporated in the model, to make sure that every stakeholder that takes part of an AMDev program, in the case in Cebu, it's going to be Teradyne and CIT, that they both benefit from a worker development as well as faculty development, and eventually incomes for both of them from product efficiencies and production on the side of the industry, and more tuition and facility benefits going into CIT because of the enabled environment for teaching advanced manufacturing. At least that's my immediate target, for hoping that we have working models not only in Cebu, but of course our work is to do it nationwide with the other localized AMIs that we already have to solve the donation problem while we're waiting for the donation equipment to come out. We have the AMIs accessible already, provided for by both Unilab as well as AMSEN, DOST, and now Teradyne. Hoping that Knowles will be up next in providing such facilities available for enabling our universities to actually teach and experience for their faculty in order to bring the training program to fruition. So models, models, models. Thank you.
Okay, we have 2 of the 4 AMIs in the AMDev program. One is located in Pampanga, that's Region 3, which is an industrial powerhouse. The other one is located in Laguna, Region 4A, another industrial powerhouse. So there's a good amount of training happening in those 2 regions, covered by our Pharma Academy, working with a number of stakeholders. So I think moving forward, the training activities will just keep on increasing as we continue to refine the competency framework, and then we also refine our training modules, so we'll be able to cover a bigger number of our workers. But just a thought bubble coming from an earlier question from Alan, in terms of retention, okay? Because that is our major problem in Unilab. We have a very successful training program that we actually lose a lot of our people. We are a victim of our own success. Okay? So you have all these multinational companies in Singapore with a specific objective, with a target of poaching people from our company. And that's fine. That's okay. We can't help it. But that only means that our Pharma Academy is busy. But talking of creative solutions, and let me inject some fun into this. I had one employee many years back, after 1 year with the company, wanted to resign. Okay? And she could have been any other, any of your employees, and they move out, and that's fine. But I had the opportunity to talk to the mother. Okay? I talked to the mother. Fast forward 18 years. That girl is now our plant manager in one of our factories. Okay? And 18 years later, that's when I saw again the mother. To give her thanks. That I encouraged her to talk to her daughter. The daughter has worked hard with us. Now she's a plant manager. So talk about creative solutions, because you just cannot keep on increasing salaries, okay? Now, mind you, I did not court the mother, all right? I just explained the kind of industry we're in, because we bring health care to the population, okay? So try to find meaning in the kind of work that you do, okay? And it could be in any industry. But I was fortunate that time. The engineer said, talking of creative, thank you. Masyadong seryoso mga mukha niyo.
Talk about personal commitment, Butch. Really, it boils down to that, right? How we put in a personal commitment. But going back to the closing question, for us, I would like to say that we would like to focus on the immersion aspect, because that's really practical. If it's all about knowledge acquisition, then we could do this remotely. But we are building skills, and the best way to do that is to have what we call hands-on, and we term it immersion. Now, indeed, there is a challenge, because you have to be physically present, and dispersion is going to be a challenge. That's why I'm glad we have companies like ICCP with us, who have operate PESA zones. So that alone is already a signal that we can transfer equipment from one zone to the other. We need ICCP to build more zones. No, but that's part of the strategy of having it, so that different companies can actually put, say, Cebu, Mactan. That's ICCP run zone, right? If they could provide a space there, then that could serve as an immersion site for those modules that require that component. So there's still a lot of work to do, but we can start with our own experiences and get the best part and share it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc Al, Sir Alan, Sir Butch. Thank you for that discussion. I know I learned a lot, and I'm confident that our audience feels the same way. So that ends our first panel for this morning. Can you please give a round of applause to our panelists? Thank you. And can you please ask you to stay up front? We'll have a quick photo for the 4 of us. You want us to stand, or
And I hope everybody's back for the second part of the program. I hope you all had your snacks and have went to the washroom already. So for the second panel, to be moderated again by Sasa, will feature homegrown representatives from the industry in HEI to discuss opportunities of collaboration in workforce development. Sasa?
Thanks, Bern. Okay. Are we okay? We had our snacks already. Later we'll have lunch. So I hope you make room for more food. Okay. So earlier we heard about AMDev, and then our next panel will focus on workforce development opportunities and initiatives specifically for this region. So we're going local. We have two excellent panelists today. So let me introduce them first. Our first panelist is Engineer Bernard Villamor from the Cebu Institute of Technology University, where he served as the chairman of the board and president. He led the CITU to achieve notable rankings in World's University Rankings for innovation and opened doors for international linkages and partnerships. He is also the president of the Philippine Association of Colleges and Universities and the Association of Private Colleges and Universities for Region 7. He is a professional electronics engineer and was awarded as Outstanding Electronics Engineer of 2019 by IECEP. President Bernard. All right. Our next panelist is Engineer Mandy Gareza, Director of Grupo EMS Inc., Cebu, and the General Manager at Trabajo Services Inc. He is also the Chairman of the Semiconductor and Electronics Industries in the Philippines, or SAPI, in Visayas and Mindanao. He has wide knowledge in manufacturing and engineering and exposed to different operational discipline and best management practice. A licensed mechanical engineer, he has been in the industry for 40 years. Engineer Gareza, Sir Mandy. Thank you for accepting our invitation today. So similar to what we did earlier, I'll have a few questions for both of you, and then later on we'll open the floor for questions from the participants. Okay, all right, let's begin. So good morning again, Engineer Bern and Engineer Mandy. Okay, all right. So before we proceed with the questions, may I first ask you to introduce your organization. So for President Villamor, perhaps you can briefly share with us your programs from basic ed to adult learning. I heard about your ETEEAP program, and can you also tell us about that?
Good morning, everyone. Our institution is Cebu Institute of Technology University. It is a private, non-sectarian institution established in 1946. It offers a wide range of educational programs from early childhood to adult learning, and is renowned for its strong engineering and technology disciplines. Over the years, we've produced 748 board top-notchers, including 88 first placers, solidifying our reputation as a leader in technology education. Our commitment to STEM education is evident with over 14,000 of our 16,000 college students enrolled in STEM-related courses. Additionally, we serve over 1,600 STEM students in senior high school and around 500 adult learners through our graduate programs and the ETEAP, or Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program. As a leading ETEAP provider, CITU supports OFWs in 43 countries and territories worldwide, with our graduates consistently achieving promotions and topping licensure exams. At CITU, we align our programs with labor market demands, starting from basic education through our adherence to the K-12 and the Matatag frameworks, In higher education, our curricula are continuously updated through industry partnerships, ensuring our graduates are equipped with the skills needed in today's workforce. Our one particular successful model is a 15-year partnership with a local homegrown software company that has an international footprint called Alliance Software. It's a testament that we are providing our students with practical experience and job opportunities. CITU has also partnered with a Singapore-based platform called CME-CV to enhance graduate employability by promoting Filipino talents and competencies. Through this collaboration, CIT utilizes a portal that connects students to industry. Additionally, this partnership allows CITU to collect data and analyze alumni data, such as graduate tracer studies, to continuously improve curricula and ensure alignment. This portal also enables CITU to monitor graduates' professional journeys, all provided at no cost by CME-CV. So this is something that will be rolled out in the whole country by the many schools. Wearing my hat as the president of the Philippine Association of Colleges and Universities, many and other associations such as the Philippine Association of Private Schools, Colleges and Universities, where I also served as chair of the Coordinating Council of Philippine Private Education Associations, about numbering almost 1,000 or more schools. So while the job placement of our graduates, particularly in IT, nursing, and engineering, is generally successful, we face the challenge of meeting the high demand for our graduates. To address this, we seek continued support for faculty development, curriculum updates, and infrastructure investment, advocating for a merit-based approach to funding that ensures resources are allocated based on performance, regardless of the institution's status, whether private or public. In closing, I firmly believe in the potential of the Filipino. With the right support and leadership, with this new framework from AMDev, I think we can harness the potential to build a resilient and adaptive workforce ready to meet the challenges of the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Engineer Byrne.
Okay, thank you for having me here. My name is Manuel Mandy E. Gareza. So I am currently the director of Grupo EMS. And as mentioned, I had been in the industry for 4 decades. So meaning I have experienced the different kind of involvement in the industry. We are the last batch of engineers that used the slide rule. I don't know if you remember the slide rule, no? Yeah. So that is our computer many years ago. So now you can rely on computers, AI, and any technological gadget that you can use to propel yourself to graduate in a mechanical engineer. So the Grupo EMS is a company that caters for manufacturing services. We do also subcontracting. And currently for the whole organization of Grupo EMS, we are around 12,000. But here in Cebu, we are 7,500 as of August, August 10th. So we are currently growing, and I look forward that this company will grow up to 2,600 by end of the year. Then a new company was also established, so-called Trabaho Service Inc., because the Grupo EMS caters for PESA company. So PESA company, all electronics company. Now, since the pasture is green outside of PESA, so we venture a new company called Trabaho Service Inc. So that company caters for non-PESA company. At the same time, this will be involving food manufacturing and other services that we can offer. And my vision here is to have this equal to the Grupo EMS here in Cebu, to have also an 8,000 employees in the years to come. So I'm also currently the chairman of SAPI here in Cebu, and Dan is our president. So we have different kind of advocacy. Number one is to elevate the issues and concern of partner companies here in Cebu, and including the academe to the national level. Because normally the issues here are just leveled up within the province. Like, for example, the problem on power, which is one of the big problems that we have here in Cebu. That's why investment is very slow in Cebu. So we also have training that we also participate and invite the partner company as well as the academe. So we have a committee called ASPA. And we have a year-round program for training like soldering, design of experiment, SPC, leadership, also in the mechanical engineering and other aspects of training which we do. And we invite some participants with a very low fee. So the other advocacy of safety is to have a connection with the local regional committee like the DOLE, SEC, DTI, TESDA, etc. And I'm part of that group. So we meet on a quarterly basis and we discuss problems and issues on safety. And safety is also active on, like for example, if there are community service, we do community service, and we adapt schools, we give help to other institutions. At the same time, during crisis, we have proven this. Being part of Safety Vis-Min, we're happy that our whole organization, the whole national level, is very helpful if ever there is a problem on a certain region. So during the time of pandemic and during the time of Odette, which almost shattered the whole of Cebu, so Safety was there to help us. And during this time of calamity in Manila, where there's a big flooding, Safety here in Cebu also help and provide donation for Manila. I think that's all.
Thank you very much, Engineer Mandy. So you mentioned 40 years of experience. We'll not count na lang kung ilang years na kayo graduate. But in your experience, what specific skills do you think is most critical for the future of the workforce in your industry, and how can higher education institutions better prepare for students for those roles?
For the industry, a new graduate engineer will face two kinds of road career path, the technical side and the management side. So the technical side involves process engineering, equipment engineering, facilities engineering, designs, tool room, and any other aspects of engineering. However, in my experience, a personal experience, when students from the academy enters the industry, normally they have the knowledge, the technical knowledge, but on the application, they are short. And in my observation, most of those people that become successful towards the management level come from those engineers who really devote themselves to learn the details of operation and even do the actual repair of machine. I still remember when we have a discussion with the Japanese customers that we have a management presentation, and the general manager of the Japanese company that we're talking, he was asked by one of the technician, a Japanese technician, and say Japanese language, which I don't understand. Anyway, but I saw him remove his jacket, roll up his sleeve, and he goes to the line. Give me 15 minutes, Mandisan. I will go back. And he repaired the machine. So meaning to say, that person will not go up to that level if he do not know the details of that operation. At the same time, if you do not know the details of operation, as top management, you cannot convey or you cannot understand if people around you will be explaining problem. So that's one. The second one is the management career, the career path. So in most cases, as an engineer, you handle hundreds of people. No? You report to your manager, you have colleagues to collaborate, you have people under you who are waiting for your direction and instruction. So assuming you have already the skills of the technical, and now you are given a chance to handle 50 technicians. So how can you solve the problem on attitude, problem on attendance, problem on discipline? So that's why I think one of the learnings that should be done is leadership, and also the capacity to convey your tawag dyan, yung message mo sa tao mo from top to bottom. In AMDev, it was presented a while ago. I saw there's also some soft skills for both technical skills that are lined up for technical and for management. And I think that is enough, no? Kasi ang engineers naman, as we know, siguro yung curriculum natin in the industry, andyan na yan eh, because it's already proven by many successful engineers that we know na naging naka-invent ng maraming bagay, Filipino inventors, which are also working even sa NASA or other big companies outside of the Philippines. So, meaning to say, siguro ang discipline lang ng mga taong yun is that they really try to learn many things from the bottom, then learning up to up. So sa industry, asking me about the question, what are the other skills or subject that we need to add? I think maybe for me it's enough. It's just a matter maybe of continuing this AMDev program so that they can further enhance their knowledge and skill to really tailor fit their skills to the needs of the industry.
Thank you, Sir Mandy. So marrying the technical with the soft skills in a way, right? So to borrow again our AOR's words, it's also important that you know the technical. We're really well versed there, but it takes a certain skill to know when to raise the red flags, how to communicate that, and when and use your critical thinking on making sure that you're addressing the right problem. So thank you, Engineer Mandy. So on that note, Engineer Byrne, based on Sir Mandy's answer, how does CITU ensure that your programs are always aligned with the labor market?
First, there are several models, but I'm very excited to share that we have a student success office. During my time, there was no such office. I know industry is so quick in changing the terms, but we have a student success officer. So before, we only checked at board passing. So we're now going down to first year. This is for college. So for first year, what should the student be involved in? So it could be their personal advocacies, look for a student org. We have 26 student organizations. Become an officer in the student org. So it's a big brother thing, big sister. So we have a peer learning system where that also, not just the technical, but how do you teach, the empathy, how do you communicate, how do you teach math in a different way that your peer can understand it better. So we've had those successes that the peer mentor becomes a top-notcher, you master the things that you teach. At the same time, when that person goes up, second year, he or she becomes the peer mentor. So that's also their lifelong network. Imagine when they work, he can be the boss, and who will he or she hire? The person who helped him or her. So those are the little things that we do. So it's like a student would have a passport from first year, like a virtual. When I was first year, well, the student when it's on the second year would say, oh, when I was first year, I had this. So it's like a CV. When you're a student, you don't do it when you're about to graduate. So maybe join in the mechanical engineering, they have a public speaking club. So we fixed the issue on engineers not being able to communicate well. So for example, like what you said, time-tested. A chemical engineer can be the head of Unilab, a world's PQA, Philippine Quality Award, equivalent to the Malcolm Baldrige National Equality Award in the US. We were inspired. CIT is a PQA level 1 thanks to DTI, and Unilab is up there, level 4. So when we engage with Unilab, it's not just the technical, but we also want to look at how did you become a PQA level 4? So it's more a diverse thing. It's not specific, but with AMDev, we agree that like in our models, without AMDev, we have very proactive companies in Cebu. In the food business, maybe we are more Cebu services, so a company like Chubi Chubi would partner with us to train their managers. And we have, of course, not free meals. It's not in the MOU, but we get to enjoy when we visit Chubi Chubi outlet. We can give them free feedback on how the service was as a blind customer, so to speak. So we enjoy that. Our students would enjoy that. They're given discounts. So it's really how to make a student excited of being a student. Not just waking up, oh, I have mathematics again, but what are the other things that can make me excited to go to school? I shared the experience I shared to Michelle yesterday. My daughter she's in linguistics and computer science and cognitive science, but she's very active in the dance community. That makes her alive every day. Even now, she's taking her master's. She sent me a video. She had a dance class. But that's imagine these peers in dance class. These are Stanford University students, UC Berkeley students, and that's a network. So we want to replicate that in Cebu. So when the students go to industry, we tell them to be like not just be the smartest in mathematics, but how can you be an extra? So we tell them to volunteer in other. So our partnership with De La Salle University is on SDGs. So I was very happy President Dan mentioned that. So after the partnership, every post in our FB and every activity of all the student organizations, they have to check which SDG are you addressing. So awareness, and plus another school has already the SDGs in every classroom being awareness. And so our school research agenda is going to be readjusted. De La Salle is going to help us. How can that measure the impact? So our students have more empathy. They know that their research is going to help the community, not just for the sake of graduating. It was, it was like that before. So we're changing the culture and the culture of inquiry that Dr. Al is talking about. So we want students now to ask questions and be involved. We have a professor from Japan who comes to us, and he's been going on for 10 years. He's an earthquake engineering expert. We ask him, why do you come back to Cebu? He likes the students in the Philippines, that they interact. Well, according to him, his students are just passive. But here, aside from asking questions, he enjoys the company of students. So there's potential in the Filipino to really be an active learner. So it's how do we, and with industry coming in, all the more they will be excited that what they're doing is connected, directly gonna help them have that pathway, be inspired by someone, can be a plant manager. It will take time. It's not overnight, but it will happen. So they can be inspired by these. They can be a big brother, big sister, mentor, not just in the academic, but on life. I think I spoke. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Engineer Byrne. You mentioned industry partnerships also. Can you share with us one successful partnership you've had with the private sector, and how did that contribute to the successful placements of your graduates?
Just like what Professor Allen said, with 15 years with Alliance, locally Cebu grown, the issue is the better you are, the more attractive you are. Internationally, especially with you have AI, our expert here, Larmi, has been teaching, doing webinars all over the country on data analytics, and we have an AI, hopefully the first AI fab lab in the country, because our researchers are on AI. So it's really how do we develop more faculty in the pipeline. So we're having partnerships with Taiwan, Southern Taiwan Institute. Before our students graduate, or even after they graduate, we sponsor them to be scholars in their university in Taiwan. So, and a return service of 2 years to teach. So we need that, because the challenge now is teachers are either going to the public school, state universities, or they go abroad. And that's a good thing. So we just have to, the balance and in the pipeline, more interested to try out teaching. Not teaching may not be for everyone because it's really a noble profession. I'm sure you from Unilab, you know how it is to be a teacher and the reward that you get. It's beyond the compensation. It's a feeling that cannot be, yes. So I congratulate you and all the teachers here. Our colleagues, our Vice President from Administration, Jigger is here, Larmy. Of course, from University of San Jose Recoletos, Dean Dennis Kilong. We have this strength in Cebu. As PACU President, our battle is like you, sir, with SAPI, is with Senate, with Congress. Because at the snap of a finger, they can create a law that could kill our schools. Really, for the last 2 years, we've been going back and forth, meeting one-on-one with senators, congresspeople. So Congressman Marco has been there. It's a good thing that Congressman Pico Benitez, former president of Philippine Women's University, former second vice president of PACU, is also a mentor. So we have a go-to person to text to when there are issues. So the battle in PACU is national. Of course, Dr. Tirso Ronquillo is PASUC president. We also had once sort of a confrontation. Of course, private and public, we are both ECEs. We're both passionate about education. It's just about priorities. But in Region 7, our aim is to be our education hub. While others are fighting at the national level, Cebu, USJR, San Carlos, Southwestern University of FINMA, University of Cebu, we are Lapu-Lapu Cebu International College, we are bonding together, backed by a 25-year relationship with our athletics league. We have that relationship already. The competition that others will talk about, we are already sharing best practices. We are even partnering with UP for research, funded by the government, funding to UP as a state university and spread out to the different universities who have the strength. Am I still making sense? But yeah, it's exciting. And all the more that our students will, because we had this vision before you graduate, you should have a job offer. So that happens with computer science, IT, because there's no board exam. So now sometimes they have 5 job offers, and they have a problem with choosing which to choose. Either a Japanese company, an American company, so they need that kind of exposure. How will it feel to work? I work for a Japanese company. My colleague Roque is here. I started as an electronics engineer in Pentax. Now it's Tenko. So I worked in Mactan economic zone for 10, 15 years before they moved to Vietnam. But now they're back. So it's really about being exposed. So what will it feel working for Knowles? How will it feel working for a Japanese company, for Timex? It has to be experienced. So once the student is inspired by seeing that, being involved, I want to work for Knowles, I want to work for Joseph, I want to go abroad, I want to be like Joseph Liwag here. I want to rise up, because I believe in the Filipino, really are, just give them the right opportunity, they will rise. And we will rise together.
Thank you. So immersion is very important as well. Thank you very much, Engineer. Sir Mandy, same question. What can you share with us one successful partnership you've had with? One successful partnership or collaboration you've had with under SAPI or EMS with a higher education institution.
Okay, hello. Okay, so a few years ago, that was one of our discussion in our SAPI meeting on how to really engage the academe, to really understand what is the actual scenario in the manufacturing environment. So what we did is we agreed that some of the companies, partner companies, will transfer equipment to facilities, to the schools, to the university. I think that there are 2 companies or 3 companies, a member of SAPI has done that. And an equipment like robotics, molding machine, and I think for the audio technology. And that is an elective subject. So meaning to say the student may enroll or may not enroll, depending on him. But then the industry is committed to send an engineers to teach. To teach. Then the same thing with what was done by Unilab, where academic instructors were also given the opportunity to immerse in the industry. So given, I think, if not, I'm not mistaken, 2 weeks. And as I talked with the sponsor company, they offer boarding, lodging, and also pre-meal for the academic, just to immerse in the industry. So those are the collaboration that we are doing. Now, on the other side, with the partnership with SAPI, for the operator side, we do, our company, Grupo EMS, we do training of operators. We have 5 different kind of skills that we train through TESDA. And that prepare the operators to be ready. And that would save company for another 2 weeks of training because we taught them on 5S, soldering process, microscope operation, ESD, and the other one is the protocol or discipline inside production. So those are the things that we're doing.
Thank you very much, sir. So the next question is for both of you. In developing and implementing these partnerships, what are the common issues or challenges in your respective organizations?
Yeah. So most probably the challenging is the enrollment, the interest of student to enroll. So you have all the equipment there, the resources are ready, but you have a low outcome of enrollees on that particular operation. So that would be one of the challenges that can be faced in that kind of collaboration.
Any reason for the low enrollment?
Most probably it's because it's not part of the major subject, because it's only a minor subject or something that you can enroll or you cannot enroll. So those are the things, and maybe some would like to give more time and effort to those major subjects.
So on that note, is it not safe to say, but just opening like a question, does elective putting the curriculum under electives the most successful or the most effective way to integrate industry curriculum in universities?
Yeah, that would be one best way, especially that CHED should approve that as part of the curriculum.
Okay. All right. And then on top of that, what resources? I'm sorry, Engineer Byrne, your answer to that.
I was just going to agree because like what we did with Knowles, PSM for industrial automation, CHED did not, because they have to inspect. And am I live? And who's the expert who can vouch? They are the expert. Yeah, so there's some so electives, like what Michelle asked Larmy yesterday, how fast would it be? So if we can talk about it now for elective, by second sem in January, we can already include an elective. So it's fast, shorter, and we can change because curriculum takes time to change. And elective is we are free to. So we can just change whatever is, up to date. Yeah, an update.
Given the best scenario for you, given that all government agencies are very cooperative or can streamline. I know this is streamed though, or can streamline all the processes in our favor. Who are the key government agencies that we should talk to, and what should they do to sort of institutionalize the partnership so that we don't go around and just let's make this an elective for this one, so that there's a system that can create that can make the industry HEI collaboration more effective.
I remember during my meeting with the Region 7, different kind of government institution, we discussed that one. And actually, I raised that concern that that those equipment that we transferred and we have short of enrollee. One reason is because it's not part of the major curriculum. So even the Department of Education mentioned that it needs some kind of collaboration with the CHED for the approval of that particular new subjects. So actually, honestly speaking, we have not yet come into agreement on that. So I will raise that again on our next discussion. And yeah.
Sir Bush mentioned it, creative solutions. So it will never be there will never be perfect time. Like now, TESDA, there's the DG resigned, so who's going to be the next person? Although we endorsed the next DG, well, we hope that he will make it. We also endorsed Secretary Angara to be the next Secretary of Education. So, and we co-signed the manifesto of support where Makati Business Club was a signatory, the private sector as advisory council. So if you see that manifesto, it was Region 7, my name, and as President Paku, and with all the other leaders. So there's already at the top level, even if I talk to Chair Popoy, CHED, there's already at the top level, they are in support, but it's trickling down. Even the regions, they say CHED has a different interpretation of a CHED CMO. And we will go to Chair Popoy and he would say, that's the wrong interpretation. So, those are happening. So creative, well, of course, meaning within legal means, there's always going to be a solution. If it's the school who has that initiative will win the game. But it's not about you and another school. We have to handhold in our association all the schools that we can do it. Minibea Mitsumi loaned us their, I don't know how they do it legally, loaned us their late machine. And they're going to update it. And also the KIST, the Knowledge and Batangas State University is a Knowledge, Information, Science, Technology KST Park. So a school can also be a KST Park. We can do that. So it's just the process of to do it. I have a friend in Manila who wanted to apply, but the application is still for a state university, none for a private. So a private university can become a KIST, an economic zone, hence can have equipment from an economic locator. So those solutions are already there. It's a matter of maybe the bigger picture, someone orchestrating, influencing the top, maybe AMDev, maybe USAID. That's very important, back channeling. I learned that in PACU, in Cocopea, a lot of back channeling happens. You don't have to mention the issues up front. It can be solved by a mere text. But that has to be through a good relationship. So I guess with good relationships, with CHED, with DepEd, we can make things happen without, we were able to change the law, a law that would affect schools, but it took us a year. So if it can happen that we can change a law, we can be proactive and become make the law, the text that is favorable for us. So that can happen. Because we were able to do the reverse, which we do not want to happen. It wasted 2 years of our time. So imagine the presidents of universities were all worried about that. How can they think of AMDev, of workforce development? Well, they're worried about their survival because of this law legislation that can potentially harm. So we, like SAPI, PACU, Cocopea, we have those issues at the top level. But we are, I think that's where Cebu will thrive. Cebuanos are known to, find solutions that, I'm born and raised as Cebuano. This is just me talking. I'm not generalizing. That as an underdog, we always want to prove to Manila that we can do. I'm sorry, I don't mean to mean any. I'll stop there. I see some faces that are not agreeing with me. I apologize if I offended someone. But this is, we are on the same team. This is for the country. So you do what you can, we will do, just like golf. It's your score. We'll do it for us, not to outdo Manila, but to show that it can be done. Sorry if I offended someone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Byrne. I was already told that it's time's up, so before we can implicate ourselves any further, we'll do our closing session. So just to wrap this up again, in less than 1 minute, share with us your hope for the region in terms of generating a resilient and adaptive workforce.
Just to show that there's a model that can be done. It's what matters is what happens after today and that we sustain it. It's not about what we think. We feel good today, but tomorrow we should do something. So action, action, action. Thank you.
For me, this venue, the AMDev, is a very good resource of getting information about the knowledge and skills that was trained to each engineer. I just hope that with after the American company will be moving out and MBC will be handling the administration. Just look forward that all the effort and training would be placed on a database so that all of us knows who are the skilled workers that undergo this kind of training.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer Byrne and Engineer Mandy. Thank you. Okay, that wraps up our second panel. Again, photo.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you again, Engineer Mandy and Engineer Byrne. Now that we've heard the importance of a close collaboration between the industry and academia in improving our human capital, it is now time to showcase AMDev's impact to the workforce. Let us all watch the success story of Charles Oblipias, process engineer at Fastech Advanced Assembly Inc.
Ako po si Charles Oblivias. Tubong magdali na daw po na. Galing po ako sa simpleng pamilya. Ang pangarap ko lang magkaroon ng trabaho, pamilya sa kanya mga sila lagi nagpupunta sa trabaho. Pagkatapos ko ng high school, kumuha ako ng 2 years vocational course para makahanap ang Hinintay na yun, hindi pa uso ang online application. Okay lang talaga. Kukutkutin pa ako. Nalatanda ako na nakikita ko daw yung mga nagdadaan. Siyempre, matataas na building dito sa Kapuya. Hanggang sa isang araw, napadaan ako sa Fastech. Mapalad na isa ako sa nasa. Isa po ako sa Fastech as production operator. Kaya ngayon, ito, may gawin ko ang machine, sira ko ang machine. Umpis na magpahinga po ako, pinapanood ko po yung mga technician kung paano gawin. Dahil na natututo ako sa kanila, kung pinapanood ko sa kanila, one time, meron isang machine na nasira. Halos hard knock time talaga, hindi magawa-gawa. So, nagsuggest ako na try natin i-repair ito o palitan. Anong time na yun, nandun pala yung boss ng mga line maintenance. Nakita niya ginawa ko, para sa kanya, approve yung ginawa ko. Kaya lang, dumating yung time na kumina ang sa industry. at iba pang tugon niya. So, isa ang plastic sa mga naapektuhan ng paghina. So, nung time na yun, ang kailangan gawin is magbawas ng tao. Kaya lang, napakaswerte pa rin. Kasi napili ako ng para i-retain, ginawa akong plating technician. Ang as a plating technician, pinagbuti ko lang. In-enjoy ko lang sa trabaho ko. Kasi ang plating is more chemical. Ako, yung natapos ko is electronics sa vocational. In-enjoy ko lang. Hanggang sa makita ng boss ko yung aking potential. After 2 years, ginawa niya akong lead technician. Noong time na technician pa ako, naging lead technician, itinurin ako si boss as engineer na linya. Kaya dumating time na may scholarship. Sabi ko, ito na ang stepping stone para ma-align na yung aking educational background versus doon sa itinuro sa akin ng boss ko na hindi. Kaya ginarap ko agad yung opportunity ng pagiging scholar. At the age of 38, nakuha ko ang diploma as mechanical engineer sa tulong ng ATF. At kagaya ng ginagawa sa PASTEC, dito sa PASTEC, bilang bahagi ng alliance, nagsasagawa dito ng mga training seminar para ma-develop yung mga new generation, pati na rin yung mga operators. Ginagawa namin technical operator sila para magkaroon chance para mag-review skills nila, magkaroon sila ng opportunity para sa next level.
As one of the model companies, PASTEC's role is to operationalize the different activities. More importantly, the activity that lies force is actually the development of an advanced workforce for the industry. The pace of changes has weakened, and this has impacted not only manufacturing operations but more globally. So in that sense, the implication for us is really to develop a more agile workforce. When we say agile, we're only talking about equipping our employees like Charles for the present challenges, but actually laying the foundation for the skills that they would need for the future. Another activity that we have actually started was to connect with the community that we have actually connected with the senior high school within the community. The programs that we have developed together with the alliance members actually become useful for us in sharing with the community, especially in the case of the senior high school students actually require a certain number of hours for them to complete their program. In the case of FASTEC, the series of modules which are actually adapting as our advanced manufacturing process for operation fits in nicely to this subject. They're able to meet the requirement while train them ahead, and therefore shortens the time when they actually have to be brought in as part of our company. That allows us to test the training program as well as provides us a pipeline with ready, capable employees.
Sa dami na pinagdaanan sa past experience ko, nakita ko yung asya ng edukasyon napakalaga ng pag-aaral. Kaya ngayon, nagsisir tuloy sa mga new generation na technicality doon sa ginagawa.
Being part of the Alliance for Workforce Development certainly give a big benefit to the effort. In particular, no one has a monopoly of knowledge. The knowledge that we can get from the other members certainly a big help in our effort to transform. I am glad to eventually get to know the alliance members and their willingness to share. And therefore it's only imperative for PASTEC to also do this. I think the more we companies that desires to further workforce development, the more can the alliance develop, not only develop, but develop bigger and faster.
Nagpapasalamat sa mga organisasyon kagaya ng USAID-led Program. Madikati, makatulong sa mga nangyayari Pilipino para makamit ang mga pangalan. Naniniwala ako na hindi yan pangalan para makamit natin ang ating mga pangalan.
continue having more success stories like Charles, AMDev and the Cebu Institute of Technology University will sign a memorandum of understanding, marking the beginning of our partnership and shared commitment to strengthen the Philippine workforce and increase the competitiveness of the Philippine manufacturing sector. I would like to call on the following primary signatories and witnesses to the front: Engineer Bernard Villamor from CIT University, Dr. Larmy Feliscuzo from the CIT University, Dr. Dan Lachica representing AMDev, Michelle Chen and Henry Grajeda representing the USAID Philippines, Ms. Claire Papa representing Unilab Foundation, and Ms. Sasa Siriban representing the Makati Business Club. President of CIT University, for a message of support, followed by Ms. Claire Papa, Director of Operations of Unilab Foundation.
Distinguished partners from the USAID, AMDev, esteemed colleagues, and honored guests. Today marks a pivotal moment for CIT University as we embark on a new chapter in our journey toward shaping the future of education and industry collaboration. This partnership with the USAID Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Development, or AMDev, this alliance clearly reflects our commitment to integrating academic excellence with practical, real-world applications that drive progress in advanced manufacturing and beyond. At CIT University, we see ourselves as more than just educators. We are innovators, just like you. We continuously evolve to meet the demands of a rapidly changing world. Through this collaboration, we are creating opportunities for our students to engage with industry and industry leaders, gain hands-on experience, and develop the skills needed to excel in their careers. This initiative is not just about preparing our students for the workforce. It's about empowering them to lead, to innovate, and to make a lasting impact in their chosen fields. This MOU is a starting point for something much larger. It opens doors for a creative collaboration where the boundaries between academia and industry blur, resulting in education that is responsive, relevant, and future-focused. The benefits of developing a skilled workforce go beyond the individual success. They contribute to the growth of the competitiveness of our industries and the overall health of our economy and our country. As we move forward, this partnership challenges us to think differently, push the limits of what we can achieve together, and constantly adapt to the evolving needs of the global market. We at CIT University embrace this challenge with enthusiasm, knowing that the work we do today will lay the groundwork for the industries and the innovations of tomorrow. I extend my deepest gratitude to USAID for their vision and leadership and our industry partners' dedication and dedication to education and workforce development. Together, we are not just signing an agreement today, we are beginning a journey that promises to transform both education and industry in our country. Thank you very much.
I would like to call on Ms. Claire Papa for her message of support. Pleasant good afternoon, everyone. It is a privilege to be in the presence of our distinguished guests today, our esteemed alliance partners, our friends from the government, higher education institutions, and industry. It is my distinct honor to express our profound gratitude to the Cebu Institute of Technology University for joining us in this momentous endeavor. This partnership signifies a pivotal milestone in our collective pursuit of inclusive development for Central Visayas and a future-ready Philippines. By collaborating with esteemed academic institutions like CIT University, we aim to equip our youth with the requisite skills to excel in the burgeoning manufacturing industry. The recent establishment of an advanced manufacturing institute at Teradyne, Philippines, which was formally launched yesterday, underscores our commitment to providing students with real-world learning experiences complemented by robust enterprise-based training. CIT University, renowned for its excellence in information technology education and a proven record of producing top-tier graduates, is absolutely an ideal partner in this pursuit. Through this collaboration, CIT University will play a vital role in developing and integrating advanced manufacturing and technology-related courses into its curriculum. Their subject matter experts will be invaluable in crafting and implementing these programs, ensuring that our students are well prepared for the demands of Industry 4.0. We eagerly anticipate the remarkable achievements that will undoubtedly arise from this collaboration and extend an open invitation to other higher education institutions to join us in shaping the future of our nation. We look forward to a long and fruitful partnership with all of you. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Thank you, Engineer Villamor and Ms. Claire. Indeed, exciting times ahead of AMDev and CIT University. To close this meaningful program, I would like to call Michelle Chen, Director for the Office of Education at USAID Philippines.
Thank you so much. I would like to acknowledge today our colleagues from the Unilab Foundation, led by Claire and Butch. I would like to recognize the Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Development Alliance team, led by Dan, and I'd like to recognize our higher education partners, led by President Bernard and his team, and also to our other HEI and industry partners who are present here with us today as well as online. On behalf of the U.S. Agency for International Development, I am delighted to be with you here today in Cebu in order to meet with leaders from government, from academia and industry. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to all the participants, speakers, and organizers, and a special thank you to our partners at the Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Development Alliance, the Makati Business Club, and the Advanced Manufacturing Skills Council for this, making this event a success. We are united here today by a common purpose: to enhance the advanced manufacturing sector in the Philippines and to ensure that our educational and training programs align with the needs of this dynamic industry. Education is not just a pathway to personal success. It is a transformational force that can eradicate intergenerational poverty and reshape economies and societies. However, realizing this potential under workforce development in particular requires collaboration between industry, higher education institutions, and government. Together, we can create education programs and opportunities that not only impart theoretical knowledge, but also equip students with the practical skills needed to thrive in today's rapidly evolving technological landscape. Furthermore, our commitment to collaboration must be rooted in a shared vision of inclusivity. This means ensuring that marginalized and vulnerable communities and populations have access to quality education and skills development opportunities. By working together, we can break down barriers and create pathways for all individuals to participate in and benefit from the growth of the advanced manufacturing sector, and perhaps addressing some of the recruitment and retention challenges in the process. In this region, we face unique challenges. By focusing our collaborative efforts here, we can reduce regional disparities and ensure that all Filipinos acquire the skills needed for productive employment. The Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Development Alliance exemplifies this collaborative spirit. By targeting sectors such as semiconductors, electronics, pharmaceuticals, only to name a few, we are not only addressing the immediate needs of industry, but also investing in long-term economic growth. USAID is committed to advancing key sectors, strengthening local industries, creating more job opportunities, and accelerating inclusive growth for all. Let us continue the partnership fostered during our discussions today. The insights and ideas shared here are just the beginning. As Engineer Bernard, President of CIT, mentioned today, it's not so much how we feel today, but what we do tomorrow. Sustained efforts in workforce development are essential for our collaborative success. By breaking out of our silos and intentionally strengthening the alliance among government, industry, and academia, we can build a stronger, more competitive economy and create opportunities that improve lives for generations to come. I just want to pause here before I conclude and just say that for those who, within USAID, who conceived of this project, I know that this current project has been running for 2 years now, and that usually means that 2 years before that, someone at USAID very thoughtfully looked forward into the future and thought, what are the shocks coming? What are the major effects that are coming down the pike, and how do we mitigate the risks involved to ensure success and growth in this country? And I just want to commend those individuals, including Henry, who had the foresight, and I'm sure others around this table who were very instrumental in urging the conceptualization of such a program to really think hard about this. Because as I mentioned at CIT yesterday, you know, coming from the U.S. and especially from California and Northern California in particular, we are beginning to see the waves of layoffs continue. It's the effects of emerging technologies on the labor force is real, and we all anticipate that this is going to hit us sometime in the near future. So preparing in advance for accelerating training that is targeted to help our labor force here in this country transition to new opportunities is, in my opinion, a very, very important effort that I think should be a galvanizing force for those across government, industry, and academia. So we are so proud to be part of this initiative. So together, let us collaborate, innovate, and invest in the future of the Philippine workforce. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Michelle, and everyone at USAID Philippines. We are always grateful for your continued support to the program. Before we serve lunch and close the program officially, may we ask the people from tables 1, 2, and 3 to please go at the front so we can have a quick photo op.